What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this, we have the scramble for India has begun. Before we dive in, if you guys happen to enjoy, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and let's get right to it.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is September 24th, 2025, and I want to talk about a fascinating new development we are seeing in the world, which I'm calling the Scramble for India. First off, welcome to the new subscribers. Thank you for watching and subscribing, and I hope that everyone watching this video will enjoy it. Please hit the like button, and please certainly hit the subscribe button. Okay, on to the topic, the Scramble for India. So something really interesting has occurred over the last few weeks. Namely, that the Trump administration is putting a $100,000 essentially price tag on H-1B
Ah,
visas.
yeah.
H-1B visas used to cost around $5,000-$6,000, something like that. They're now going to cost
Oh
$100,000.
my
H-1B visas are
God!
how American companies effectively import workers from other countries. By far and away, the number one country that we import workers from using that program is India. I mean, it's something like three-quarters of all the H-1B visas go to Indians. Putting this new amount, increasing the cost of the visa by a factor of around 20 or so, is
It's
obviously going to
insane.
dramatically reduce the number of Indians coming to the United States on
Yes.
H-1B visas. Now, of course, there's a question: how many carve-outs will Trump have? How many big companies will show up at the White House? They'll give him a gift. They'll announce $500 billion of investment, and then Trump will say, "Okay, your company gets a carve-out, and you don't have to pay the 100."
Hmm. You know that's exactly what's gonna happen. And that's annoying. But that's ridiculous. From 5,000 to 100,000 is just unreasonable. It's un. So why is he trying to get? You're basically trying to get Indians out of America because there's gonna be some that can pay that, but most are not gonna pay 100,000. No way. So why? This is insane. I don't get it. I truly don't understand the decision making. I would love to understand all the factors that go into his decisions, but I don't get it.
Grand or whatever. By the way, just so you know, that the gifts that Trump gets will be real. The 500 or $600 billion investments will not be real. That'll just be an announcement, nothing more. It's a press release. So I don't
Hmm.
know if this will actually have the impact that everyone thinks it will, but assuming there are not substantial changes to it, it will dramatically reduce the number of Indian immigrants coming to the United States.
Yeah.
Here's where it gets really interesting. All around the world, many countries: Germany, Japan, South Korea, Italy, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, China, Russia, you name it, all have the same problem. They're running out of young workers. I mean, I understand they may have millions, but as a percentage, or as in terms of the numbers that they need, they do not have anywhere near
Hmm.
enough. They have serious shortages. And in countries like Germany or Japan, this is hitting chronic levels. Russia is in
Oh
just
wow.
unbelievably bad shape. China is in rough shape, but it is worsening very quickly. China's actually, like today, not as bad as a lot of these other countries are, but it
Yeah.
is getting worse for them much faster than most of the others. Same
Yeah.
kind of story
Because
for
there's
South
so many
Korea.
people.
Canada is another country very much has this problem. Many others have this problem as well.
Yeah,
Turkey.
because I assume their older generation, most countries have that social security type of benefits to help out that older people. And so when you have that, I think the US was looking at the same issue with so much there's just not enough people being born. So people are starting to get social security and there's more older people than younger people and there's no balance in how you're gonna pay them. You feel me? But yeah, that's kind of sounds like the situation that China's going to be in, where there's more older than younger. These people can't work anymore, but they still need to live. And I don't know if y'all got some kind of social. I assume there's some social thing that gives them money every month, but you don't have the money to. Then it ended up, yeah. And India's got the young workers.
Will
Oof.
be joining them shortly, so will Brazil. Iran has this problem. Now, not all to the same scale. They're at different scales, and their problems are getting worse. They're all getting worse, but at different rates. But
Hmm.
nonetheless, if you are a government and you're saying we have a problem, we do not have enough young, educated, motivated workers who are affordable, there's one place you can go that has them and has them at scale, and that is India. The problem for them has been all the capacity that India had, all these sort of surplus of highly educated, um, hardworking young people, the United States really got the cream of the crop from that. We pretty
Yeah.
much got all the ones that we wanted. We tend to get all the best of that. Well, now the Trump administration has stopped that. So the
Yeah.
India, that population of young, educated Indians is now in play on a global basis, and a scramble has broken out.
Dang.
Russia's talking about bringing in 1 million of them. Japan's talking about bringing in 500,000 of them. Olaf Scholz, the former head of the German government, was out doing a video announcement just in the last few days saying, Indians, please come to Germany to work here. Other countries, the United Kingdom's trying to import more. Canada's trying to import more. I haven't checked on South Korea, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're in on it. And even the countries that aren't, like to my knowledge, I don't think Brazil's doing that right now. They're going to get in on this sooner or later. So that's the first reason there's a scramble.
God dang, India. But what frustrates me is these countries. I feel like they could get all these Indians to come over, and once everything gets stable and right, the economies, the age, and then maybe people start having more babies, and then they're gonna be like, well, we need the English too much Indians here. The culture has changed too much. The country has changed too much. We want to fight for our identity back, but those Indians came and helped at a time when you needed it. Now you want to kick them out because things are back on track. That's how I feel. So many of these Western countries do immigrants, bro. They ship them in when they need them, and then once things are stable, once now, okay, now we don't need you anymore. You're stealing jobs. You're doing all this. Go back. We need to send you. It's insanity to me, but that's how I feel it happens. But yeah, all these countries facing this issue, and India's got a surplus of young workers.
For it. All of a sudden, this
Come on.
supply has become available. There's a second reason why there's a scramble for it. India's economy is booming. They've had very
Hmm.
strong growth for many years in a row now, other than the
Yeah.
COVID pandemic year where they took a pretty nasty hit. But other than that, you go back to like the mid 20 teens and stuff, they're churning out, 5, 6, 7, 8% growth a year. It obviously varies year to year. Right now they're doing about 6.5% growth. So what that means is that the domestic demand for skilled Indian labor is rapidly increasing. Wages are rising, standards of living are rising. So if you want to compete with that, you need to do. You're another country, and you want to get these, educated young Indians. You need to do it now because their opportunities at home are steadily getting better and better and better and better. Which means over
Yeah.
time, it's going to get
Very
more
quick.
and more and
Yeah.
more expensive to lure them
Hmm.
away from India into whatever country you
Hmm.
want them to. The
Agreed.
third reason this is a scramble
Completely
is because
agree.
the Indian birth rate has collapsed. It's not
Oh.
totally horrible right now, but to give you an idea, in 2000, it was well over 3. It is now slightly less than 2. They've lost more than a
Oh.
third of their fertility in 25 years, and it is trending downward. It is going to get smaller and smaller. The other thing is,
You
if you
see
look
this happen in so many countries. What do you guys think is the reason for birth rates going down? Like, are people just wanting to have kids? What do you think the situation? Because I ain't gonna lie, once we had my son, bro, those first 6, 7 months, I said I don't want to do this again. And I'd be as much as I love him to death, I'd be perfectly happy if he was my only child because like it's rough. We do plan on having another, but I'm just saying it's rough, bro. I don't know how y'all did it back in the day. Y'all was popping them out, but this is kids are rough.
at the Indian population, their 25 to 29 cohort is really big. There are
Okay,
fewer 20 to 24-year-olds and there are 25 to 29-year-olds. Then there's fewer 15
okay.
to 19-year-olds after that. And then even fewer 10 to 14-year-olds, and even fewer
Mm,
5 to 10-year-olds, and even fewer 0 to 5-year-olds. What this means is
wow.
each 5-year block is getting smaller and
Yeah.
smaller and smaller and smaller. So the supply is already at peak right now. So the supply is as big as
I'm sorry. My son's moving a lot. Like he wants to get up. I apologize for always doing this. I'm so sorry.
it's ever going to get. It is only going to get smaller from here. The domestic demand for the labor is doing nothing but going up, meaning the domestic, how do I say this? The price you have to pay to compete with domestic demand is as low as it's ever going to be. It's only going to go up.
Yeah.
And
Facts.
because not every country is in on the scramble right now, although several major ones have gotten in recently, The international demand is about as cheap as it's going to get. Here's the final reason. If and when Trump decides to put in a bunch of carve outs for H-1B visas to allow big American companies to import more Indian workers, then you have to compete with those big American companies. You have to compete with Amazon
Yeah.
and Meta and Google and all of those kind of Apple, all those kind of countries.
But
You
I
have to.
feel like, man, that's going to be very criticized given these big companies, the carve outs, but maybe these smaller companies that some of these overseas. I don't know if it's just Indians he's doing this to, but they're they might not survive it, and so yeah, that would be a lot of people would be like, oh, once again, rich get richer. Um, I'm intrigued. I'm very
Pay a
intrigued.
lot of money. So right now, if you are, again, one of these governments, the supply is as big as it's ever going to get, the price is as low as it's ever going to go, and everything is only going to get worse from here. Your need, by the way, in all of these countries that need them, their needs are only going to get bigger with time, not smaller. And so their demand is going to go up, the supply is going to go down, and the price pressure from the domestic Indian economy is only going to push the cost of labor higher and higher. Here's the
Yeah,
final reason why it's a scramble, why this is all happening so fast. India is the last, what do I say, the last barrel that you can draw from of educated talent for young people who are willing to move that you can do at scale. You can always find somebody
yeah,
from Germany or somebody from Australia or
yeah.
somebody from Mexico. But if you need it at scale, India is the only one
Mm,
left. And they're going to
dang.
phase out of this within 20 years. And after that, there is nobody else. There's nothing coming on the horizon. Sub Saharan Africa will not serve as a replacement for this. There's a lot of reasons for that. That's a different topic. But nonetheless, once India is tapped, which will be tapped sometime in the next 15 to 20 years, tapped out, that's it. No more. At that point, you have to pay top dollar for whatever little bits and pieces of educated young labor aren't already spoken for, and there will be damn little of that available. So, what you're going to see over the next 5 years is a major scramble from the world's great economies to try to get as many young, educated Indians as
Dang.
they can, while they can afford it, while they're still there to be gotten. After 5 years, the prices are going to be skyrocketing. It's still going to be happening, but a lot of countries are just simply going to get priced out of the market. You hit
Yeah,
around somewhere between 15 and 20 years from now, there's just not going to be a market anymore, not at scale anyway, because there's just not going to be enough of them left. So this scramble for India is going to be a hot topic the next few years. And whatever country you're in, your government better get them now, because get them while the getting's good. They ain't going to be around much longer.
that's crazy to think about. So many countries aging out, like in the world. So many countries need those young workers. India has it to provide, but India is also aging out. Their condition is not bad like a lot of other countries. So they have the workers to give. But I think he's right with the Indian economy going up. They're going to only make more and more money, and so it's going to be more expensive to lure them out. And then you're competing against other countries as well. So yeah, I Indy is just needed, very needed today. That's all we have. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, check out the next. I'll see y'all next time.